Hello everybody, welcome to Beer Reviews. Welcome back to the ale house. No beer in front of me, but what are we going to drink today? Well, one of the friends of the channel spotted a beer over my shoulder. It's one of his favourite beers. I want to know what I thought of it. So Brian, this one's for you. One of Brian's favourite drinks is this one. So this is Bass Traditional No.1. It's a premium pale ale. Comes in at 4.4% ABV. You can pick this up in Lorry Bob's and probably other supermarkets as well for something like £1, and it's in a very, very lovely 500ml bottle. So that's what we're going to be reviewing today. Let's crack it open, let's get it into a glass. Boom. So anybody of a certain age or over a certain age will know that Bass have been around forever. Bass are actually one of the oldest brewers in the UK. And I think I'm right in saying that in the 1800s, Bass was the biggest brewer in the world. And this one, this pale ale, sold all over the world. Now, one thing I will say about Bass and their traditional No.1 is that it was obviously originally brewed when it didn't have any real and much competition from anybody else. So I'm not sure. Sneaky look at the label. I'm not sure if it's brewed to the same recipe. Doesn't really say. All it says is basically the register the triangle, because that's their competitions often forge the Bass triangle on their labels to emulate Bass's success. So that has poured very clear, an amber colour with a fairly small but lovely white head. Bass you can still get in cask. You go into any Bass house and you'll be able to get this, and it'll be much better. Not much better. It'll be probably a little bit better than what I am about to drink here. But in a bottle, that looks good so far. There's some nice slow moving carbonation there, still doing its job. Right, let's get the aroma, shall we? As I thought, it's a traditional beer, I suppose, in many essences. Sweet malt coming through, so it's a bit caramelly. A little bit hint of citrus coming through. Bit floral there as well. So it's all the hallmarks of a traditional beer. Traditional English beer. Looks good, smells good. Let's taste it, shall we? Cheers, everybody. It's nice. I think the official probably reviewer's term is inoffensive. There's nothing you can take that's really bad about it. I think we're talking about Bass being one of the oldest brewers in the world. I think Faversham Brewery, which is now Shepherd Neame, I think, somebody will tell me if I got it wrong, I'm sure of it, but I think that is the oldest brewery in the world. Not in the world, sorry, tell a lie, oldest brewery in the UK. So, back to this one. It's inoffensive. It's malt forward, it's malty more than citrusy. So, sweet malts at the front, the hops are in the background. So the malt's providing a nice, mild caramel sweetness. And the hops are providing a nice citrus, lemony backdrop, which is quite nice. There is a nice level of let the motorbike go by. There's a nice level of bitterness on that as well. But again, like the aroma, it's a very traditional tasting beer, English beer. And yeah, it is what it is. And I've used the word traditional twice, but it is that sort of. The recipe will have changed over the years, but it is that sort of old-fashioned beer. It was meant originally, which hence why the hops in there. It is quite hoppy with that lemony, little bit floral coming through. So it's why those hops are in there, because the hops made it last longer on its journeys. So when they were selling this across the world, across the globe, they had to make sure it got to the other end in good condition. And the hops helped to do that, helped to preserve the beer. And in modern days, the hops do a mighty fine job of just providing, against that little bit of sweetness, in this instance, a little bit of sharpness, a little bit of bitterness, which works quite well from a modern perspective as well. It's light, it's smooth, it's got a feel of it of probably more like a no, it's probably a little bit more mouthfeel than a blonde or a would have, or a golden ale would have. It's got just a little bit more to it than that. Did it had that lingering bitterness, which it has, but it's got a lingering sweetness as well. So at the back end, I'm getting the bitterness down the back of my throat, and inside the mouth, around my lips. That sweetness is still there, and is managing to last. And I've got a feeling that will be there for a little while yet. So it's got some really nice lingering flavours to it. It's nice, and I would have it again. And it's been a long time. I tend not to go out to pubs that often, if I'm being brutally honest. Do a lot of my drinking more at home. But I'm going away this week, so this week coming. So might get a few jars in a few beers, in a few pubs and the hotel. It's nice. It is nice. I would love to try it again really quite quickly on cask. So I'm going to find out my nearest bass houses and try and get it. But yeah, that's really nice. I can see why you like it, Brian, because it is a decent brew. Score wise from me for that, I'm going to score that a 7 out of 10. That's a 7 out of 10 from Andy's Beer Reviews. Whatever you're drinking, please enjoy it until the next review. Cheers, everybody.